I stared at my signature on the closing documents, but something was wrong. The loops in the L were too perfect, the A too rounded. Someone had forged my name on papers selling my grandparents' house, and I knew exactly who was behind it. My name is Lisa, and until yesterday, I thought I was a co-owner of the Victorian house where I spent every summer of my childhood. The place where Grandma taught me to bake snickerdoodles, where Grandpa let me help paint the fence, even though I got more paint on myself than the wood. The house that, according to these documents, no longer belonged to our family. It was the only way, Lisa. My mother's voice cut through the kitchen like a blade. She sat across from me, perfectly composed in her cream blazer, not a hair out of place. Sarah needed help, and the house was just sitting there. Just sitting there? My voice cracked. I live 20 minutes away. I visit every week to maintain it. I've been paying the property taxes since Grandma died, and we appreciate that, honey. Dad wouldn't meet my eyes, focused instead on stirring his coffee. But Sarah's situation, it was getting desperate. I laid the papers flat on the kitchen table. So desperate that you forged my signature? Mom's face tightened. We did what we had to do. Your sister's gambling debts were out of control. There were some very dangerous people involved. And that justifies fraud? Don't be dramatic, Mom sighed. Yasmin helped us handle everything properly. The house is sold, Sarah's debts are cleared, and now we can all move forward. Yasmin, the real estate agent? I pulled out my phone and started taking photos of the documents. Does she regularly help clients forge signatures? Lisa, Dad finally looked up, please don't make this difficult. What's done is done. I thought of my bedroom upstairs, still decorated with the lavender wallpaper Grandma and I picked out when I was 12. The garden where I'd scattered some of her ashes. The window seat where I'd spent countless hours reading, dreaming, healing after every disappointment life threw at me. Where's Sarah now? I asked, keeping my voice steady. At her new apartment, Mom brightened. She's really turning things around. She's joined GA, she's looking for work. This fresh start is exactly what she needed. And what about my fresh start? My inheritance? My legal rights? Oh, sweetheart. Mom reached across the table to pat my hand. I pulled back before she could touch me. You've always been our practical one. You understand about family emergencies. Family emergencies. Like when they emptied my college fund to pay for Sarah's rehab. Or when they borrowed against their retirement to cover her first gambling debt. Or now, stealing and selling my last connection to the only family members who ever put me first. Does Sarah know? I asked. About the forgery? We didn't want to burden her with the details, Dad mumbled. She's fragile right now. Of course. Sarah was always fragile, always needed protecting, always came first. I stood up slowly, gathering the documents. I need to process this. Lisa, Mom's voice took on a warning tone. Don't do anything foolish. The sale is final. The new owners move in next month. I looked at her, really looked at her. At the woman who taught me about right and wrong, who preached about honesty and integrity, who now sat calmly discussing fraud over her morning coffee. Okay, I said softly. I understand. Good girl, Mom smiled, relief evident in her expression. I knew you'd see reason. Why don't you come to dinner on Sunday? Sarah will be there, and we can all start fresh. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. As I walked to my car, my phone buzzed with a text from Sarah. Hey sis, heard Mom told you about the house. Thanks for understanding. Love you. I didn't respond. Instead, I pulled up my contacts and called an old friend from law school. Joe, it's Lisa. Remember when you said I could call if I ever needed legal help? I started my car, watching my parents' house shrink in the rearview mirror. I need to know everything about real estate fraud and statute of limitations. The line was quiet for a moment. Then Joe spoke. Come to my office. Bring those documents. I ended the call and took a deep breath. They thought they knew me. Practical, reliable Lisa. The one who always understood, always forgave, always stepped aside for Sarah's needs. They had no idea what understanding really meant, but they were about to find out. "You're being so amazing about this whole thing," Sarah gushed, reaching across the brunch table to squeeze my hand. "Mom was worried you'd freak out." I smiled and took a sip of my mimosa. "Water under the bridge. Tell me more about your recovery program." 3 weeks had passed since I discovered the forgery. 3 weeks of playing the understanding sister while Joe built our case. Sarah was glowing in a new designer dress, probably bought with the house money, as she detailed her journey to redemption. "The counselor says I'm making exceptional progress," she beamed. "It's like finally I can see clearly. No more darkness, no more desperate choices." "That's wonderful," I said, pressing record on my phone under the table. "And Mom and Dad helped with all the legal stuff?" "Oh, you know Mom," Sarah laughed. "She handles everything. Said she'd take care of the paperwork so I wouldn't have to stress about it during recovery." Bingo. I kept my face neutral. She's always been good at handling things. Remember when she convinced my high school principal not to press charges over that stolen test key? Mom can talk her way through anything. I remembered, just like I remembered every time they covered for her, cleaned up her messes, sacrificed my stability for her chaos. "Speaking of Mom," I said carefully, "she mentioned something about adjusting some documents for the house sale. I didn't quite understand what she meant." Sarah waved her hand dismissively. "Oh, you know how it is with legal stuff. So many forms and signatures. Mom said she'd handle all that boring paperwork." My phone kept recording as Sarah rambled on, unaware she was giving me exactly what I needed. After brunch, I drove straight to Joe's office. "This is gold," Joe said, listening to the recording. "Combined with the forged documents and the timeline we've established, we're building a solid case." "What's next?" "I've contacted Hugo Mason. Remember him from high school? He's a real estate attorney now. He can help us trace the sale documentation." I nodded. "Will Sarah get in trouble?" "Honestly, probably not. She wasn't directly involved in the fraud. Your parents, though—" Joe hesitated. "This is serious, Lisa. Are you sure you want to go through with it?" My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. "Family dinner tonight. Sarah's cooking. Don't be late." "I'm sure," I said. That evening, I sat at my parents' dinner table, watching Sarah serve overcooked pasta, while Mom praised her culinary skills. Dad kept refilling his wine glass, avoiding everyone's eyes. "Lisa helped me so much with the recipe," Sarah announced. She hadn't. "We had the best talk at brunch. I feel like we're closer than ever." Mom beamed. "That's wonderful. I was just telling Mrs. Peterson how well my girls are getting along. Much better than her daughters after their inheritance dispute." I forced a laugh. "Well, family comes first, right? Hey, Mom, could you forward me Yasmin's contact info? I'd love to ask her advice about some property investments." "Oh," Mom's smile flickered. "I'll have to look for it. Why don't you focus on your current job first, dear?" After dinner, I helped Sarah clean up while Mom made coffee. "You seem different," Sarah said suddenly. "Calmer." "I am calm," I replied, and it was true. Calm like the ocean before a tsunami. My phone vibrated. A text from Hugo. "Found something. The assistant who processed the paperwork disappeared right after the sale. Very suspicious. Meeting tomorrow?" "Everything okay?" Sarah asked. I smiled. "Perfect. Just work stuff." I hugged her goodbye, knowing it might be one of our last peaceful moments. "Love you, sis." Later that night, I sat in my apartment, updating my revenge journal. Joe had suggested I document everything. Every conversation, every revelation, every piece of evidence. The journal was filling up quickly. My phone rang, Mom calling. I let it go to voicemail. "Lisa, honey, I've been thinking about the house. Perhaps we could set up a small trust for you with some of the sale money. Call me back." Too little, too late. They thought they could buy my silence, just like they'd bought Sarah's fresh start with my inheritance. But I didn't want their money. I wanted justice. I picked up my phone and texted Hugo. Meeting tomorrow, 9 a.m. Bring everything you found. Then I texted Sarah. Had such fun today. Can't wait to help with your redemption party next month. The pieces were falling into place. Soon, they'd understand exactly who they'd underestimated all these years. I closed my journal and smiled. Sometimes revenge is best served not cold, but with a warm smile and a patient heart. Hugo's office smelled like leather and coffee. He spread the documents across his desk, pointing to timestamps that didn't add up. See this? He tapped a date on the probate filing. It shows the court processed this at 3 p.m. on March 15th, but the court closes at noon on Fridays. Someone backdated these documents. I leaned closer. Can you prove it? Better. He pulled out his phone. I have security footage showing your mother entering the building with Yasmin at 4:30 p.m. that day. The timestamp's right there in the corner. My hands shook as I took photos. What about Yasmin's assistant? Maria Rodriguez quit without notice the day after the sale closed, but... Hugo grinned. She used her work email to book a flight to Miami. I have friends at the airline. I raised an eyebrow. Friends who share passenger information? Friends who owe me favors. Maria's staying with her sister. Want her address? Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. Sarah. OMG, sis. Mom says you're helping plan my redemption party. Can we meet for coffee? I have so many ideas. I texted back, Of course! Starbucks at 2? Hugo watched me. You're really playing the long game, huh? They've been playing games with my life for years, I replied. My turn now. At Starbucks, Sarah bounced in her seat, clutching a massive binder. I'm thinking Phoenix Rising as the theme. You know, from the ashes of addiction into a new life. I nodded, sipping my latte. Very symbolic. Mom and Dad must be so proud. They are. Mom's inviting all her club friends. Dad's even giving a speech. She flipped through the binder. Oh, and I was thinking we could display old family photos. You still have Grandma's albums, right? My chest tightened. Those albums were all I had left of the house. Sure, I'll bring them. You're the best, Sarah squealed. This party will show everyone I'm not that person anymore. No more lies, no more secrets. I smiled. No more secrets. That's important to you? Totally. Honesty is like my new thing. She lowered her voice. Between us, I've been seeing someone. Patrick? Your ex Patrick? The same Patrick who'd called me last week, wanting to clear his conscience about Sarah? He's changed too. We're both different people now. Sarah grabbed my hand. Promise you won't tell Mom and Dad yet? They're still weird about him. Your secret's safe with me. Just like Patrick's email about Sarah bragging how Mom would fix anything for her was safe in my evidence folder. After coffee, I met Josephine at her office. She was on the phone with Yasmin's receptionist. Yes, just confirming Ms. Campbell's appointment tomorrow at 2. Perfect, thank you. She hung up. Yasmin took the bait. She thinks she's meeting a potential seller. Will she talk? She'd better. I've got proof she notarized documents without witnessing signatures. That's enough to lose her license. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. Lisa, darling, having lunch with the Petersons tomorrow. Join us? They'd love to hear about your career. The slight pause, the subtle dig. Classic Mom. Sorry, work meeting. Rain check. Joe watched me. You okay? Fine. I pulled out my laptop. Let's review the timeline again. We worked until evening, mapping every detail. The forged signatures, the backdated documents, the mysterious disappearance of Maria. The web of lies was complex, but the truth was simple. They'd stolen from me, thinking I'd just accept it like always. My phone lit up with a text from Hugo. Maria agreed to talk, says she has copies of everything. Then another from Sarah. Can't wait for you to see my party dress. Having dinner with Mom and Dad tonight. Wish you were here. And finally, from Patrick. Hey Lisa, got more screenshots of Sarah's old texts about the house sale. Call me. I looked at Joe. It's all coming together. Lisa, she said softly, once we start this, there's no going back. Your family... They stopped being family the moment they forged my name. I stood up, gathering my things. The party's in 3 weeks. Everything needs to be ready by then. And you're sure about doing it there? In front of everyone? I thought about all the times they'd humiliated me quietly, privately, death by 1,000 cuts of favoritism and dismissal. They chose the audience, I said. They invited their friends to celebrate Sarah's honesty and redemption. Let's give them a show they'll never forget. I left Joe's office and drove home through the darkening city, past the old Victorian house, where workers were already making changes for the new owners. Soon, that wouldn't matter anymore. Soon, everything would change. I can't believe you kept all these, Sarah said, flipping through Grandma's photo albums in my living room. Look at this one, my 6th birthday party in the garden. I watched her manicured fingers trace over the image of our younger selves, back when her smile was genuine and my trust was intact. They'll be perfect for the party display. Mom's going all out, Sarah gushed. She's hired a videographer to document my journey to redemption. Isn't that amazing? A videographer. Even better than I'd hoped. Very touching, I agreed. Everything on camera. My phone vibrated, Patrick requesting a video call. I stepped into my bedroom, closing the door. Hey, his familiar face appeared on screen. You alone? Sarah's here, but she can't hear us. He ran a hand through his hair nervously. I found the emails. Sarah wasn't just bragging about your mom fixing the paperwork. She sent screenshots to her gambling buddies, proving she could always get more money. Forward them to me? Already did. Lisa, he hesitated. She's not well. Even in GA, she's still lying. Last week she asked me for money, said she had one last debt to clear. I heard Sarah laughing at something in the albums. Thanks, Patrick. I'll handle it. Back in the living room, Sarah had spread photos across my coffee table. Remember this Christmas, when I got the car and you got... What was it again? A bookstore gift card, I said quietly. For $50. Right. God, you were always so easy to please. She checked her phone. Oh, shoot. I'm late for my GA meeting. Thanks for the album, sis. After she left, I called Joe. Patrick came through, I said. How's the DA looking at our evidence? Very interested, especially in the forged probate documents. They're preparing warrants, Lisa. Once we go public, there's no stopping it. I sat among the scattered photos, looking at one of Mom and Dad beaming at Sarah's college graduation, the one I couldn't attend because they'd needed me to cover Sarah's rent that month. Good, I said. Any word from Maria? She's flying in next week, bringing all her files. Hugo's handling her hotel arrangements. My phone chimed with Sarah's message. Party planning meeting tomorrow, Mom's house, 11 a.m. Bring ideas. I replied with appropriate enthusiasm, then opened Patrick's email. The screenshots were damning. Sarah boasting about Mom's creative problem solving, joking about forged signatures, promising her bookie that money was coming once they handled the house situation. Another call came in. Hugo. Lisa, you need to see this. The probate court's internal system shows the documents were uploaded at midnight from an IP address matching your mother's home network. Can you prove it's their network? Better. Their security cameras show your mother's car in the driveway at that exact time. The timestamps match perfectly. I heard a key in my front door. Mom using her emergency key, again. Gotta go, I whispered, hanging up. Lisa, Mom called out. Sarah said you were home. I brought dinner. I quickly closed my laptop. In here. She swept in, elegant as always, carrying takeout bags. You've been so helpful with Sarah's party. I thought we could have some mother-daughter time. How thoughtful. I cleared the photos from the coffee table. Oh, the old albums. She sat down, pulling out containers of Thai food. Sarah mentioned you're bringing these to the party. Such a nice touch. Mom, I said carefully, do you ever regret how things happened? With the house? She paused, chopsticks halfway to her mouth. We've been through this, dear. It was necessary. Even the forgery? Lisa, her voice sharpened. Some things are better left in the past. Sarah's doing so well now. Let's focus on that. My phone buzzed. A text from Joe. DA wants to meet tomorrow. It's happening. Everything okay? Mom asked, watching me. I smiled, Sarah's party invitation reflecting off my screen. Perfect. Just work stuff. You work too hard, she said. You should be more like Sarah, learning to enjoy life. I thought about the warrants being prepared, the evidence mounting, the videographer who would capture everything. Actually, I said, I'm learning a lot about enjoying life lately. Mom smiled, oblivious to the storm approaching. That's wonderful, dear. Now tell me your ideas for the party. Sarah says you're handling the photo display? Oh, yes, I said, picking up a photo of our whole family in front of the Victorian house. I'm planning quite a presentation. We ate dinner, making small talk about the party, while my phone kept buzzing with updates from Joe, Hugo, and Patrick. Mom never noticed my hands shaking, or how I kept every screenshot of her midnight activities. Some things really are better left in the past, Mom, but fraud and theft, those have a way of coming back around. The district attorney's office was colder than I expected. Detective Solomon spread the evidence across his desk, while the DA, a sharp-eyed woman named Rita, reviewed my statement. Let me be clear, Rita said. You have proof your mother forged your signature, backdated legal documents, and committed probate fraud? I handed her my phone. The latest evidence came in this morning. Maria, the notary's assistant, sent these emails. They show my mother specifically requesting documents be backdated. Solomon leaned forward. And your sister's involvement? Sarah knew about the forgery. She bragged about it. I played Patrick's recorded call. Sarah's voice filled the room, laughing about how Mom would handle the paperwork and make it all disappear. Jesus, Solomon muttered. And they're throwing a party? A redemption party, I confirmed, with witnesses, cameras, and a room full of their closest friends. Rita's eyes narrowed. You want us to arrest them at the party? I want the truth to come out first. Let them see who my family really is. Then you can arrest them. My phone buzzed. Dad calling. I declined it. We'll need witness statements, Solomon said. The real estate agent, the assistant. Already done. I pulled out Joe's files. Yasmin broke yesterday, signed a full confession about the forged documents. Maria's flying in tomorrow. Another buzz, Sarah this time. Emergency party meeting. Mom's freaking about the centerpieces. Help! Rita watched me respond with cheerful emojis. You're very calm about this. I've had practice, I said. Being calm is how I survived them. Leaving the DA's office, I drove to my parents' house for the emergency meeting. Mom was arranging flowers while Sarah paced. Lisa, thank God! Sarah grabbed my arm. Mom wants white roses, but I think purple orchids are more symbolic of transformation. Mom's lips tightened. White roses are classic, dear. Lisa, talk sense into your sister. I sat down, watching them argue about flowers while my phone recorded everything. Dad appeared briefly, grabbed a scotch, and disappeared again. How about both, I suggested. White roses for purity, orchids for change. Perfect, Sarah clapped. See, Mom? Lisa gets it. Mom's phone rang. Her face changed when she saw the number. Excuse me, dears. Business call. The moment she left, Sarah leaned in. I invited Patrick to the party. Don't tell Mom. Wouldn't dream of it. I smiled, thinking of Patrick's scheduled testimony. My phone lit up. Hugo. Maria landed. She's terrified but ready to talk. Meeting at 4? Everything okay? Sarah asked. Just work. I stood up. Speaking of which, I should go. Lots to prepare for the party. Mom returned, looking pale. Lisa, wait. That was Yasmin? She seemed upset. Has she contacted you recently? No, I lied smoothly. Why? No reason. Mom forced a smile. Just checking guest lists. At Hugo's office, Maria sat trembling in a conference room while Joe recorded her statement. Mrs. Richardson said she'd ruin me if I didn't help, Maria whispered. She knew about my immigration status, but I kept copies of everything. Smart girl, Joe said, patting her hand. My phone exploded with texts. Sarah, found my party dress. You'll cry when you see it. Dad, please call me. Important. Mom, darling, let's have lunch tomorrow. Just us. Hugo showed me security footage from the probate court. Watch your mother here. See how she slips the backdated documents into the afternoon filing? Clear as day. The DA's ready, Joe announced, ending Maria's recording. Solomon's team will be in position at the party. You just need to give the signal. I thought about Mom's sudden lunch invitation, Dad's urgent calls. They were getting nervous. They suspect something, I said. Want to back out? Joe asked. I opened Sarah's latest text, a photo of her in a white dress, captioned, pure as snow, ready for my new beginning. No, I said. They chose this path. Every signature forged, every lie told, every time they stole from me to save her. Those were choices. My phone rang again. Mom. Lisa, please come to dinner tonight. Your father and I need to discuss something. I could hear the worry in her voice. Good. Sorry, Mom. Busy with party preparations. Everything needs to be perfect for Sarah's big day. Lisa, got to go. Love you. I hung up, turning to Joe and Hugo. 1 week until the party. Let's make sure everything's ready. Maria looked up tearfully. They seemed like such nice people. I thought of the house, now stripped of Grandma's wallpaper and Grandpa's handmade bookshelves, of the garden where my childhood memories were being bulldozed for a pool. They're excellent at seeming, I said, but next week everyone will see the truth. The day before the party, my apartment looked like an evidence locker. Joe helped me organize everything into labeled folders while Hugo reviewed our presentation timeline. Documents are arranged chronologically, Joe said, tapping the stack. Forged deed first, then the backdated probate files, followed by Sarah's texts and Maria's testimony. My phone buzzed, the 15th call from Mom today. I ignored it. Your mother's getting desperate, Hugo noted. Yasmin called me twice this morning, asking if we could discuss things privately. They know something's coming, I said, but they don't know what. Sarah's text lit up my screen. Final rehearsal in an hour. Dad's speech made me cry. You're really going through with this? Joe asked, in front of everyone they know. Before I could answer, someone pounded on my door. Mom's voice rang out. Lisa Richardson, open this door right now. I nodded to Joe and Hugo, who quickly gathered the documents and slipped into my bedroom. Taking a deep breath, I opened the door. Mom burst in, perfectly coiffed but with panic in her eyes. What are you doing? Yasmin says you've been asking questions. The DA's office called me. Did they? I kept my voice neutral. How interesting. Lisa, please. She grabbed my hands. Whatever you think you know, whatever you're planning, stop. Think about your sister. I'm thinking about Sarah, and you, and Dad. I'm thinking about all of us. We can fix this, her voice cracked. We'll set up a trust fund for you, buy you a condo, anything you want. I pulled my hands away. I want my grandmother's house back. That's impossible now, but then I want justice. Mom's face hardened. Justice? You ungrateful child. Everything we did was for this family. No, I said quietly. Everything you did was for Sarah. She needed help, and I needed parents who didn't steal from me. Mom stepped back, straightening her jacket. Fine, play your little game. But remember, if we go down, Sarah's recovery goes down with us. Can you live with destroying your sister's last chance? She stormed out, slamming the door. Joe and Hugo emerged from the bedroom. Well, Hugo said, that was dramatic. My phone buzzed again. Dad this time. Please call me. We can work something out. Then Sarah. Where are you? Everyone's waiting for rehearsal. Go, Joe said. Keep up appearances. We'll finish preparing here. The country club was decked out in white roses and purple orchids. Sarah twirled in her dress while the videographer captured everything. Mom sat stiffly in the corner watching me. And then, Sarah was saying, after Dad's speech, Lisa will present the photo memorial. It'll be so moving. Dad approached me during a break. Princess, whatever's happening, please, your mother hasn't slept in days. Funny, I said. I haven't slept well since you stole my inheritance. He flinched. We were desperate. No, you were cowards, taking the easy way out, like always. My phone lit up. Detective Solomon. Warrant's ready. Team will be in position at 9 p.m. tomorrow. Who's that? Dad asked. Just work. I smiled. Everything's fine, Dad. Go practice your speech. Later that night, I laid out my outfit for tomorrow. A blue dress Grandma had bought me for my law school graduation. Joe called to confirm final details. Maria's statement is notarized. Yasmin's confession is on video. Patrick will arrive right before your presentation. Perfect. I touched Grandma's pearl necklace, my something borrowed for tomorrow. How many cops? 4 plainclothes officers, plus Solomon. They'll move when you give the signal. My phone exploded with messages. Sarah, can't sleep, too excited. Love you, sis. Mom, last chance, Lisa. Don't do this. Dad, please call. Yasmin, we need to talk, urgently. I turned off my phone and opened Grandma's photo albums. Tomorrow, these would help tell the story, not just of Sarah's redemption, but of my family's true nature. Joe's voice softened. You okay? I looked at the last photo taken in the house, me and Grandma in the garden she loved. They thought they could buy my silence, like they've bought everything else in their lives. After tomorrow, nothing will be the same. Good, I said, closing the album. Some things need to change. I hung up and packed the folders into my presentation bag. Tomorrow, the truth would come out. Tomorrow, justice would be served. Tomorrow, they'd learn that their quiet, reliable Lisa had finally found her voice, and it would be loud enough to shatter their carefully constructed world of lies. The country club ballroom sparkled with white lights and flowers. Sarah floated through the crowd in her white dress, accepting congratulations while Mom worked the room like a politician. Dad hovered near the bar, already on his 3rd scotch. I spotted Detective Solomon and his team scattered around the edges of the room, dressed as waiters. Joe sat near the emergency exit, Hugo by the main doors. Patrick lurked in the back, holding a manila envelope. There's my beautiful sister. Sarah hugged me tight. Ready for your presentation? Born ready. I touched Grandma's pearls. You look lovely. Ladies and gentlemen. The videographer's lights brightened as Mom took the microphone. Welcome to this celebration of redemption and renewal. I watched her work the crowd, telling the story of Sarah's brave journey to recovery. Dad's speech followed, emotional, scripted by Mom, of course. The audience dabbed their eyes. And now, Sarah stepped up glowing, my amazing sister Lisa has prepared a special photo presentation. Mom's smile faltered slightly. I walked to the podium, setting down my presentation folder. Thank you all for coming, I began. Family is so important, isn't it? The trust we place in each other, the bonds we share. I clicked to the first slide, the Victorian house. This was our grandparents' home, where Sarah and I grew up. Mom shifted in her seat. I continued. 3 months ago, this house was sold to pay Sarah's gambling debts. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. But there's something interesting about the sale. I clicked to the next slide, the forged documents. You see, I was a co-owner. My signature was required. This is my signature on the deed. I paused, except I never signed it. Lisa! Mom stood up sharply. This isn't the time. Actually, it's exactly the time. I nodded to Hugo, who dimmed the lights. Let's talk about fraud, Mom, about forgery, about stealing from your own daughter. The projector displayed Yasmin's confession video, then Maria's statement. Sarah's incriminating texts filled the screen. "Oh, God," Sarah whispered, swaying. "Oh, God, no. While you're all here celebrating Sarah's honesty," I continued, "let's discuss my mother's creativity with legal documents, the backdating, the forged signatures, the theft of my inheritance." Dad stumbled toward the podium. "Princess, please." "Don't," my voice cracked. "You stood by and watched. You always just watched." Patrick stepped forward, handing me his envelope. "I have more evidence if needed." Sarah screamed, "You promised you wouldn't tell." "Like you promised to change?" I turned to the horrified audience. "The truth is, there is no redemption story here, just fraud, theft, and a family who thought they could buy their way out of consequences." Mom reached the podium, grabbing my arm. "Stop this right now." "No." I shook her off. "Detective Solomon, I believe you have something for my parents." The plainclothes officers moved in as Solomon approached, badges out. "Eleanor and David Richardson, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and theft by deception." Sarah collapsed, sobbing, as Mom started screaming about family loyalty. Dad just stood there, empty glass in hand, as officers cuffed him. "Lisa!" Mom shrieked as they led her away. "How could you do this to us? To your sister?" "The same way you did it to me," I said quietly. One signature at a time. The videographer captured everything. The arrests, the shocked guests. Sarah curled up on the floor while her perfect white dress crumpled around her. Joe appeared at my side. "You okay?" I watched my family being led away in handcuffs, their carefully constructed facade finally shattered. The revenge I'd planned for months should have felt sweeter. "They never saw me coming," I said. "All these years they thought I was the quiet one, the reliable one, the one who would always understand." "Lisa," Sarah crawled toward me, mascara streaking her face. "Please, I'm your sister." I looked down at her. "You're right. I am your sister. Which is why I'm getting you real help this time. No more enabling. No more cover-ups." Solomon returned as the last guests fled. "We'll need you to come down to the station tomorrow for final statements." "I'll be there." I gathered my folders while Joe helped a hysterical Sarah to her feet. "What happens now?" Sarah whimpered. I touched Grandma's pearls one last time, then unclasped them. "Now? The truth happens. Real consequences. Real recovery." I handed her the necklace. Sometimes love means letting people face what they've done. The ballroom emptied, except for scattered flowers and abandoned champagne glasses. Through the windows, I watched police cars pull away with my parents inside. "Ready to go?" Joe asked softly. I looked at the wreckage of Sarah's redemption party, the perfect metaphor for our family's carefully constructed lies. "Yes," I said, "I'm ready." The courtroom felt smaller than I expected. Mom sat rigid in her designer suit. Dad slumped beside her as the judge delivered their sentences. 18 months for fraud and forgery," Joe whispered, "plus restitution." I nodded, watching my mother's perfect posture finally crack as the reality hit her. Dad just looked tired, aged decades in weeks. Sarah wasn't there. She checked herself into a real rehabilitation center the day after the party. No more quick fixes or easy outs. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited with cameras. Mom stopped before being led away, turning to me. "I hope you're satisfied," she said. "You've destroyed everything." "No, Mom, you did that. Every time you chose Sarah over me, every time you took what wasn't yours to take. We were trying to help her." "And who was helping me?" She flinched. For the first time, I saw uncertainty crack her perfect mask. "I never meant," she started. "I know," I said quietly. "That's the problem. You never meant anything when it came to me." The guards led them away. Joe squeezed my shoulder as my phone buzzed. Sarah's Rehabilitation Center. Hello? Lisa? Sarah's voice was different, smaller. I just heard about Mom and Dad's sentencing. How are you doing? Actually working the program this time. It's on harder, real. She paused. I'm sorry for everything. I know. Will you visit sometime? I watched Mom and Dad being driven away. Maybe, when you're ready, when we're both ready. After hanging up, I drove to the Victorian house. The new owners had painted it blue, torn out Grandma's garden. Nothing looked the same. Miss? An elderly woman approached from next door. Are you Lisa? Yes. I'm Margaret, your grandmother's friend. She left something for you, asked me to hold it until you needed it. She pressed an envelope into my hand. I think now's the time. Inside was a key and a letter in Grandma's handwriting. Dearest Lisa, I knew Eleanor would try to take the house. She never understood its real value wasn't in money. But I had something else saved for you, my cottage in Maine. It's small, but it's yours. No strings, no sharing, no compromise. Sometimes we need to start fresh to find our strength. Love, Grandma. My phone buzzed again. Hugo. The DA wants to know if you'll testify at the restitution hearing. I looked at the key in my hand. No, I have somewhere else to be. Joe met me for coffee later, bringing the final paperwork. Your parents' assets are frozen, she said. The house sale is invalidated due to fraud. You could fight for it. I slid Grandma's letter across the table. I don't want it anymore. Let the new owners keep it. You sure? After everything? The house was never what mattered. It was what it represented, them taking my choices away. I touched the key. Now I'm making my own choice. Patrick dropped by my apartment as I was packing. Sarah asked me to give you this. It was a photo album, not Grandma's, but a new one. Inside were pictures of us as kids, before the gambling, before the lies. Sarah had written beneath each one, I'm sorry. I miss you. I'll do better. She's different this time, Patrick said, really trying. Good. I handed him Grandma's pearls. Give these back to her. Tell her to earn them. The cottage in Maine was everything Grandma promised. Small, sturdy, overlooking the ocean. No family portraits on the walls, no memories of betrayal in every room. Just possibility. My phone lit up with texts. Sarah, day 30 of real recovery. Thinking of you. Joe, restitution hearing scheduled. Sure you won't come? Hugo, your parents asked about you. I stepped onto the porch, watching waves crash against rocks. The air smelled like salt and new beginnings. They say revenge doesn't heal you, I typed to Joe. They're right, but the truth does. I thought about Mom and Dad in their separate cells, learning consequences at last, about Sarah in rehab, finally facing her demons without enablers, about the Victorian house with its new color and unfamiliar garden. Some things can't be fixed, some betrayals cut too deep. But standing there, holding Grandma's key, I felt something I hadn't expected. Peace. I didn't need their house anymore, or their approval, or even their understanding. I had something better, my own truth, my own strength, and a future unmarked by their lies. Looking out at the horizon, I deleted the unsent message to Joe and wrote a new one. I'm home.